Hey everybody, welcome to Season 3 of Song Revolution. Get ready to ramp up your songwriting. Hey everybody, welcome back to Song Revolution. It's always a delight to be here to serve you, to empower you to fulfill everything that God's put in your heart. You know, there's no such thing as an age of miracles. There's only a God of miracles. And even if you feel like it's impossible that you could fulfill God's calling on your life, I want to encourage you to rise up in new faith and joy and love and in the Word of God, and to encourage yourself to never give up. And we're here 10 years into Nashville Christian Songwriters. There have been plenty of times I was tempted to give up. Maybe I quit every day, but God gives me the courage to re-enlist. And so that's why we're here today. And I hope that you will find today's content really encouraging. This month we're talking about, so you want to be a Christian artist. We're going to have a lot of fun digging in that today, digging in that sandbox. I'm here with Bryant, Urich. Hello, Bryant.
Hey, how's it going?
You ready to get into this topic today?
I'm ready, man. I was inspired by you, so I went with glasses today. Step it up a notch.
I get a lot of comments on these glasses, and I think I've kind of gotten used to them, but
yeah,
by now
Love
I can't imagine. You do contacts, but I couldn't
do.
imagine sticking something in my eye.
Really?
It's like poking a stick or an ice pick in your eyeball.
Yeah. You're doing it wrong.
How do you,
It's like that. I've had contacts since like 7th grade.
Really?
And,
No kidding.
Yeah.
Wow.
I've always loved them, but...
Wow, but you're into the glasses today because you had a problem. See, I know this. I know the backstory. You had a problem with one last night.
Yep. So we're here. Analog.
Ouch. Wow. Well, just before we get into the content today, we have just returned from Moab, Utah, where Eau Claire appeared at the Heaven on Earth Festival. Guys,
right.
If you're watching today, go back and listen to watch the podcast from a few weeks ago, Heaven on Earth with Emily Hostetler, who hosted the Heaven on Earth Festival in Moab. We just had a great time, lots of great artists. And since we're talking about artists, maybe we could do a little recap of that because it was so cool.
Totally. Such a cool event. This is our second year there in the middle of the desert, and it's the most beautiful, setting, sunset concerts for 2 nights. Mm-hmm. And this year was Dave Barnes, John
Amanda
McLaughlin,
Cook.
Amanda Cook, Johnny Swim, great husband and wife duo. And then we played and a couple other artists, and it was a blast. Yeah.
So if you watch our socials, I'm sure that we're posting quite a bit. Go to Eau Claire's socials and watch those as well. I think favorite moment with the artist, besides Eau Claire, of course,
sure.
was when Johnny Swim, Amanda, and Abner came down off the stage and jumped up on a fire pit there and did one of their songs. That really was a moment for me.
So cool. Yeah. I mean, the end of their set, the last song, they jumped down and everybody circled around the fire pit, and it was just such a cool moment.
It was just real. It felt very authentic, and they felt authentic. And I was telling you and other people, I liked Johnny Swim, but now I love them.
Right. Right.
Do you think that there's something, I might be jumping ahead a little bit, but do you think that there's something live that you can't quite capture in the studio sometimes with people, that there's something more vibrant and alive when they're in a live setting than maybe the produced out thing?
Oh, 1,000%. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there are some artists probably that have never even played live, but for somebody like Johnny Swim, that's what they do. So it's the studio is a capture of that, but what they do best is perform or on stage, and they've been doing it for decades. So
she's Donna Summers' daughter.
Yes, not Suzanne Summers.
Not Suzanne.
I mixed that up. Donna Summers'
Wrong Summers.
daughter. Yeah, correct. Yeah,
that's hilarious. She was dynamic. Amanda.
Oh, man, yeah. She's amazing.
She was great. And Abner. Mm-hmm. How many people do you know named Abner? I love that name.
I haven't met anybody, but
he crushed on the guitar, and it was really, it was powerful, really. Yep. So if you haven't seen Johnny Swim, go check out their music. But I haven't looked at their videos, but maybe YouTube. Oh yeah, you can find some live stuff that they do. It's really great. So I hope to have them on the show. I told Abner I got to speak to him Friday before we were leaving, and I gave him an NC his T-shirt.
Nice.
And I told him that I'd sent a gushy email after they played. I did. I was really fanboy.
Nice.
And asked them to come on the show. They're
Cool.
LA based, so
Yeah.
he said they come here, so hopefully they will. But
Yeah.
it was really fun to see. I mean, Dave Barnes was there, like you said. John McLaughlin, who's an incredible pianist. And I didn't really know John's work.
Yeah.
But the diversity, Madeline Rose, who we have a podcast with Madeline coming up this month out that we did out there.
Yeah.
So that's going to be really fun. Madeline Rose and John McLaughlin. I didn't really know much about them. And also The King Will Come, right?
Yep.
Ashley Hess
Ashley
and
Hess.
Sean and some of those other guys.
Yeah. Can't think of his last name.
Yeah, they were great.
Yeah, they're great.
But-
King Will Come is like Salt Lake City based, kind of a worship collective of people, different artists, and they stole the show. I mean, Friday morning was like a worship service, and it was awesome.
Oh, it was so beautiful.
Powerful.
So when you think about those artists, you know, each one is very, very different. Just very unique. I think her name is Tammy, the African-American girl, really, really straight hair, ball
Guitar
cap.
player.
And she
Yeah.
played electric and she rapped
Yep.
during some of their stuff. That was really a cool thing. See like 7 or 8 of them up there. Eau Claire's Justin Barnett sat in on one of their covers of an Elevation song. Let everything.
Yeah.
They did that. That was really fun.
Yep.
But so many different stories. Do you think? Yeah, I mean, you're living your own story. You know, moving here almost 10 years ago.
Totally.
So for the people, for you guys, the people watching this, you know, you have your story too, and there's no one way. There's no one button that you can push to become an artist, right?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah. Well, and maybe we set it up this way, like we talk to songwriters and, you know, some of those songwriters go on to be artists, right? And some of those writers just want to write songs for other artists. So there's kind of this, like, there's this path where some people just fall into it, where they start writing songs and then they become the ones who are best suited to carry those songs and they become the artist. There are other people who are just built to be artists, to be performers, and they, you know, they may not be as into the songwriting. Maybe that develops later or whatever. But yeah, I definitely think that the story has so much to do. That's what we sat there for 2 days in Moab and listened to story after story of these songs that have come to life and the path that the artist has been on to share them. And so I think the story is kind of everything, really, when it comes to the artist.
that's really a great phrase. The story is everything.
Yeah.
I mean, really.
Yeah.
Your story, God's story as it unfolds in your life. What you said a moment ago about the songwriter becoming the best vehicle for the song. You're a little young, but back in the 80s, you know, Michael Bolton. Do you remember the name Michael Bolton?
Yeah.
You know, I can't think of his song right now, but he was
When a man loves a woman.
Yeah.
I can't do his voice, but I'll try.
he was a writer.
Yeah.
And I don't know if he intended to become an artist, but the story I remember is that he was doing his demos, and then the record label heard him, and they're like, okay, dang, you should be doing these songs. And he
Wow.
became a big star back in the day.
Yeah.
Sort of fallen by the wayside like Kenny G, which is sort of unfortunate, you know.
Sure.
So many children have been conceived to Kenny G. It's like, and Michael Bolton probably. It's like, it's a shame, right?
Yeah,
that
yeah.
These great people have become so mocked.
Sure.
But anyway, that's a whole other thing. But I think we're living our own stories, and I think we make a mistake when we think that there is someone out there who's supposed to make it happen for us, and we fall into that passivity instead of really taking ownership of our artistry. And I've run into that so many times with people. Can't you just like put out a hit single for me? And it's
Yeah.
like, well, it just doesn't really work that way. And,
Right.
and we've been teaching all year really about the shift from the old paradigm to the new paradigm. You know, I mean, all last month was really about building a business around your music. And it's hard for people to understand that sometimes, that they have a role, I think, and you guys, I always love coming back to Eau Claire. Not only are you on our label, but you're some of our dearest friends, and you're close, and you're on the staff, and all those good reasons.
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
more than just convenience, but,
Yeah.
you're living your story with Eau Claire that's been around for 10 years or more, right?
Yeah.
You guys going back. How does it feel at this juncture? You, Me, the Kids came out in June. Now Help Me Out has just come out.
Yeah. Yeah.
How does it feel finding your way through your own artistic journey?
It's a good question. I think we're doing more now on the promotion side than we've ever done, right? Like we've been doing some interviews and podcasts and different things that stretches us, because for the longest time we just were making music and putting it out and, not really talking about it a ton that way. So that's kind of opened up a whole new thing for us to learn and get better at, is how to share the story better, how to tell the story better. But I think the richness is there, like when you've got 10 years of life and things happening and, life circumstances and kids and families and all those things, it just makes the story that much more rich with time.
Yeah.
So yeah, for us, it's just been figuring out how to tell the story better, how to continue making music that inspires us, and not fall prey to like making things, see, how do I say it? Like writing songs or making music for a certain outcome or to appeal to a certain group of people. Because
so good.
when you start like putting the message out there and promoting stuff more, I think there's maybe a pitfall of like trying to start creating for more of those opportunities, right? And so I think being true to who you are and still creating from that place of what got you here in the first place is a really important thing to keep front and center.
I love that. It makes me think about the worship writers who wind up seeing money start coming in from like CCLI, and then their focus shifts to making CCLI money instead of serving the church. And we've known, a number of people that it feels like I won't judge or condemn them, but it feels like, hey, let's get together and write, for the church. But in their minds, they're really writing for CCLI money. None of us are totally perfect in our motivations, but that seemed like kind of a flagrant.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Well, motivation, I think, is everything as an artist, right? Like what is motivating you to share your songs with the world? What is motivating you to get on stages and to do podcast interviews and to do PR or even, do live shows, do videos on the internet? What's motivating you? Because if it's fame and fortune, we all know where that gets you, right? It's not a good ending usually. So, are you creating for the sake of creating art, or are you creating for the sake of like touching people and reaching people with, the news of Jesus? Like what's the motivation behind your artistry? And I think like you mentioned Dave Barnes at the festival. He's a good example of a songwriter and an artist, because he's been around. He's been doing his thing for a long time. But he had a massive cut with Blake Shelton. He played it, God Gave Me You, and it's funded his career. Like I would assume it's a huge song. It went, I don't know if it went number one, but it was huge with Blake Shelton. So he has then, that kind of shifted the way his artistry takes shape now, right? Because he can play more, maybe he gets more opportunities because he wrote a hit song that he wouldn't have had he just kept doing his thing. So it's, I think you kind of build and grow with the opportunities that you have, whether you're right at the beginning playing for 10 people or you're playing for 100 people or 1,000 people. Building that artist, the career as a Christian artist is really just starting where you are and being faithful to those opportunities as they come.
I think that's very insightful, because you can't be anywhere except where you are.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And a lot of the people, thousands of people that I've spoken with through the years, it's like they want to jump from right here to a Taylor Swift kind of audience.
Sure.
And I guess maybe occasionally a song goes viral and you have that kind of an opportunity, maybe not on that scale, but at least larger than you would have. But it's so rare
Yeah.
that happens. And so
really
to sit
is.
around and wait on that seems kind of fantastic to me that people would even do that.
Yeah, definitely.
So, what would it feel like to have 52 weeks of access to the right people in Nashville? People who've been making music for decades, people who can answer every question that you have about what pro-level music making is all about. Well, you can get that and more by joining NCS Community. Our community is a group of worldwide dedicated Christian songwriters who want what you want, to glorify God with your gifts and to get your music out there. I hope that you'll consider joining NCS Community today.
What was it like, I mean, from your perspective, being an artist? You had your album in the 90s with Integrity that was on the heels of like Right Shout to the Lord and Darling Check and these massive things. What was that like for you, putting out a hit record in the 90s?
Yeah, I don't think I ever really knew totally what I was doing because I was actually on staff as a publisher with Integrity at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But this is where, you were mentioning earlier, creating out of who you really are. That's really what was happening for me. I had lived through a lot of emotional, spiritual healing and worship were just my themes in all of my life, and really still are. And I was at a workshop kind of thing in Chicago area, and had this lady came up to me, and I don't know, dear listeners and video watchers, what you believe about prophecy, but I had this lady come up to me at this thing. She was one of the worship leaders. I wasn't even on the stage at all, but she came up to me and started prophesying to me that I was going to do this healing worship album, and wow, I didn't know, because she knows at Integrity, so she's probably making this up, but I don't know. But I just went back and shared that with Don Moen, my boss there. He's been on our podcast in years past, and iconic Integrity guy, and he's like, well, let's do it. Whoa. I'm like, oh, dang, okay. So that was back in the day when they actually shipped out physical CDs, and they shipped out over 100,000.
Wow.
But I still didn't have a grasp of that. I think I probably now, 30 years later, I see now that was incredibly significant. Mm-hmm. Back then, I think I was so busy. I think I didn't really realize, I didn't have the brain power to realize how that was going to open up, decades of worship ministry for me. I'm big in Nigeria. I'm big in Philippines. They love me. And even to this day, my primary base is Philippines, believe it or not.
Crazy.
So if you're watching from Philippines, I'd love to come down and sing someday. But I've never been. But so I think it's been more of a gradual unfolding for me. Mm-hmm. And, back to when I was a kid and got saved, the first thing I wanted to do was sing a song, write a song for Jesus, and dreamed of like, what if I could ever be an artist? Mm-hmm. And now that I've lived that over these years and made many albums and traveled the world and done that, it's like a different person did all that in some ways. It's a little unreal, but it is the life that I've lived. And I think the main takeaway, maybe to kind of land this little plane, is I'm not smart enough to have asked for it, and I look back and am in awe at what God has done, but I think the main takeaway is to let it unfold a step at a time. You can't be anywhere but where you are right this second. And so you can dream, you can plan, you can hope and pray, but you got to do what you can do right now. Take the next tiny little step, if that's to pray, if that's to study, if that's to jump into learning more about how to do what you want to do, So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, God places those little things along the way, right? Those little dreams or visions or desires to kind of give you, just keep you on the path of what He's calling you to do. And I remember even early on seeing things like Heaven on Earth Festival, or seeing things like a big conference or something, that I just had that little moment of God saying, like, highlighting that specific thing. Not necessarily saying like, you're going to do this, but it was just like a little like, oh man, I can see myself doing that or whatever. And I had a moment at the festival. It's like, man, there are only 8 artists here, and we're one of 8 that are playing in this place for this festival for this group of people, and that's significant. And to your point about forgetting or not really like fully realizing in the moment, I kind of had that moment last weekend of like, yeah, we're here. You know, the flight was crazy, the travel, whatever. We made the show happen, but not fully like realizing the impact or the scope of what was happening. So I think you're totally right. Be where you are, whether you're just getting started or you have been doing this thing for a long time, and maybe you're frustrated or you wish you were at a bigger, impact, a bigger platform than you are. Don't give up, because I think if you look at the very select few that we see all the time, the top 40 Christian radio artists, there are so many more artists out there who are being successful, doing the thing, doing it full time, making a living, making a big impact with people, doing ministry, like all of those things, than just the people that you see or hear on the radio.
You just really see the top, 1%, maybe?
Yeah, totally.
Maybe. I mean, there are thousands and thousands of artists, millions of songs being released every year, hundreds of thousands every day. It's insane. Yep. And so I think the only way that you can stay sane is if you are following God in the ministry path and looking at it as stewardship versus glitz and glamour and making it. I mean, what does that even mean, right?
Yeah, totally.
I mean, if obedience to God isn't making it, if the scriptures say obedience is better than sacrifice, and if we're not really collaborating in our lives and ministries with God, what's it for? I don't know. I feel that very deeply when I think of the artists that we work with here at NCS and the NCS Collective, being Eau Claire. We have Anya Lee we work with, Jay Davids, Howard Grip. These are just normal, awesome people who work jobs and do their thing, and yet they're writing and releasing, performing as they can, and learning what it means to be an artist and getting some traction, and not identifying with some kind of fantasy that being an artist is going to make you feel better about yourself. That's another trap, I think, that, because we have such damaged egos or inflated egos or whatever it is, that we think, let me relate it to an example in my life. I used to think before I ever had a song recorded and published that if that ever happened for me, then I could just go ahead and die and go to heaven because I was fulfilled, you know?
Yeah.
And that was hundreds of songs ago.
Yeah.
And I'm still not fulfilled.
Right.
I still haven't found what I'm looking for.
Maybe if you'd written that song.
I know, right? I could go ahead and quit. But I mean, there's still that restlessness in me. I'm still, whatever broken, fragile person I've ever been. And accomplishing something is nice and it's wonderful, but it doesn't fulfill me. It's a beautiful thing, but man, it's not what I thought it was. And not to be discouraging, because you still have to do it. And so for me, it comes down to stewardship. I love, there's a book called The War of Art, Stephen Pressfield. Have you read that one?
Oh yeah, a couple times.
It's really good, isn't it? So there's a quote that I love from him, and it's creative work is a gift to the world and every being in it. Don't cheat us of your contribution. Give us what you've got.
Wow.
And that's what I love about Eau Claire, because you're writing songs about you, me, the kids. Let's get out of this place and go chill because it's getting too tight in here. And, and some of the other songs that you're
nailed it.
Right. So, you're writing things that are authentic to you and your buds, Kyle running the cameras today, and Justin, you're writing what's real to you in this season of your life, and you're not trying to write for the masses or for somebody else, but you're making a contribution. If I remember correctly, you had, when you released You, Me, the Kids, you had somebody on socials, like, say they had to pull the car over because they were weeping. And what was that about?
Some guy commented on YouTube and was like, I think it was on one of the clips that we posted, and he was like, basically, I had to pull the car over. I was crying so hard or something. And I have no idea what his life
He must have a bad
situation
marriage, huh?
Yeah, I mean,
Something's
maybe he
going
lost
on.
his kid. Like, you never know what could happen. But But that's part of the amazing thing about writing from where you are, is that inevitably it accomplishes what you would be trying to do if you're writing for, like if you're true to who you are, you're creating from that place, it's going to resonate with someone else. It may not be millions upon millions of people, maybe it is, who knows, but it's going to resonate with somebody if it resonates with you.
I love that. And the artists that we do work with on NCS Collective are very authentic. That's why we love them. They've come through our programs. They've either gone through our community or through our virtual group coaching, NCS Pro Song Mastery. A number of them, maybe almost all of them, have done our NCS Artist Development Program, in which we lay out a pathway from where you are to where you want to be. Now, we can't promise that, you're going to go viral or have hundreds of thousands of streams, although, Howard Gripp's getting tens of thousands of streams on his work that you've produced. Nikki Lou Savage, she recently had 20,000 streams on her song Million Tears, which is amazing, and these are people that they weren't artists, just regular type people. I've been at it a long time, but no one else really on our label has been at it for 43 years. But.
Right. They're all fairly new. I think you nailed it on the head earlier. You said if obedience to God isn't making it, I don't know what is. And that's it. That's kind of being a Christian artist in a nutshell would be, are you being obedient to what God's called you to do? And if you're not, I think people see that pretty quickly. If you're trying to do the artist thing and force the doors down and just do what you're not really equipped or skilled or called to do, it's pretty obvious. But if you are called to do that and you're not doing it, then find a way to get around people who can encourage you and push you to be what you're supposed to be.
Yeah, and I think there's a fine line. Like at what point are you a Christian artist? Right? Are you a Christian artist now?
Yeah.
Before anybody knows you, or do you need the attention and eyeballs of people before you're an artist, right?
Yeah,
I mean, don't you think you're an artist long before anybody knows you're an artist?
Totally.
And success is an internal job. Owning who you are as an artist starts right now before you're ever performing anywhere or ever have any kind of singles out or anybody even knows your name. Right? I mean,
totally.
I talked about Nikki Lou a minute ago. Had never sung in a studio. It still isn't performing out necessarily, but her music is awesome.
Yeah.
And she's an artist. She's just naturally an artist. And working with her in a lot of ways has kind of gone from zero to up to, okay, this is what it's like to write songs, to craft songs, to go into the studio and produce, and then to launch websites and social media and go through the entire process. We went through the entire artist development program with Nikki Lou, and now she's living it. I mean, it hasn't blown up, Nikki Lou. We hope it does, but she is that, and nobody has to tell her that she's that. Do you know what I mean?
Totally.
It's not about accomplishing a certain amount of streams or going viral to make you an artist. You either are or you're not internally.
Yeah, how many artists or even painters are out there who just sit at home and create beautiful canvases and things that, never get put in a museum or never get seen by hundreds of thousands of people. Are they still an artist? Yeah.
Absolutely.
They're creating from that deep place and turning nothing into something, and that's what being an artist is all about.
Yeah. And that's what I love about the Stephen Pressfield quote. It's like the world, even if it's a few people, a handful of people, or millions of people, if you feel this tug in you to create, you're an artist, and I think there is an artist in all of us. We just don't all tap into it or develop it. And that's what we're all about here at NCS. What would you say to anyone listening to us, and maybe they're frustrated, maybe they feel this, but they don't even know the first step to take? What would you say to them?
I mean, I think sometimes it's helpful. Well, most of the time it's helpful to have other people around you see something that maybe you can't, right? And so if you're just trying to do this thing on your own by yourself and accomplish it, not that it's impossible, but it's definitely difficult to be objective and to see what's possible on your own. So my first piece of advice would just be to get around people who can spot that in you and see that and call that out in you. That can happen a lot of different ways. That can be through your worship team at church, whether you're like involved in a church setting or not. That can be just getting around your friends who have similar interests. For me, it was taking this leap to get to Nashville. I just knew I had to be here to be around people that, not saying you have to move to Nashville, that's not the magic code, but we offer a lot as NCS to be a part of community, to sign up for the newsletter and emails and podcasts and all the things, just to open the door to seeing those things and drawing those things out for you and helping you to do that. So, get around people, do it in community, do it in proximity with other people, because that's honestly what makes it fun and makes it just easier to carry that call, right? It's on your life.
Carry the call.
Carry the call.
Carry the call. I love that. Well, I'll go ahead and close out with another quote. I'm kind of into quotes today.
Go for it.
And the great mystic and author Thomas Merton from the 60s, I think he actually died in 1968, he said, "Art enables us to find ourselves and lose ourselves at the same time." And a while ago when I was talking about thinking that I would be so fulfilled, if I ever got a song recorded, and now hundreds later, it's like, God did his thing. And when we choose to lay down our own desires for the sake of the cross, for the sake of the gospel, it's just a weird dichotomy. We find ourselves as we lose ourselves. And I think that's that step of obedience. So Thanks, Bryant. Good show today.
Yeah, man.
All right, you guys, thanks for tuning in. I love this topic. We're going to have more fun with this. Bryant and I will be back in 2 weeks talking more about So You Want to Be a Christian Artist. That's what this month is all about. We have 2 incredible podcast episodes coming up over the next couple of weeks. Dan Dean of the famous Phillips, Craig and Dean trio, who've been around for 25, 27, 26, 7, 8 years. Great hits, awesome ministry, wonderful human beings. I was actually part of their Genesis back in the day, and so excited to have Dan in the studio recently. So you're going to really enjoy catching up with Dan and his new album and everything that he's doing in his ministry, as well as Madeline Rose. It was a podcast episode we actually did in Moab, Utah. You're going to love this young lady. She's awesome, truly called, just taking it one step at a time. She's a worship leader. She's a mom and has a very dynamic story that I think you're going to really enjoy. But we appreciate you checking out everything that we have to offer over at NashvilleChristiansongwriters.com. We're still only halfway through the year, and we've been doing our NCS 2025 Songwriting Challenge. It's not too late to jump in. That link to download the free 31-page PDF is in the show notes here. And as always, I want to do a big shout out to Bryant Urich, to Kyle Kicker, to Claire Bacon, to Jack Landis, and all the wonderful folks who work with us here at Nashville Christian Songwriters. We'll see you next time. Thanks for joining us on today's show. If you got some value, please help us share the love. Leave a like and a share and a good review. Be sure to check out everything that we have to offer you at NashvilleChristiansongwriters.com. We'll see you next time.